Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? My name is James Field.
And my name is Josh Deakin.
And welcome to Vidyaology. Now, in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about female game developers and, the whole sexist idea. We're also going to be talking about the PlayStation 4 being sold out in South Africa. We're also going to be talking about the Xbox One being the fastest selling console in the US. We're also going to be saying a nice little farewell to Windows XP, finally. And the Pirate Bay is going to be switching their address for the 6th time this year. And finally, Instagram hitches the wagon on instant messaging. Let's get into this. So, hello Josh.
Hello James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. So, shall we talk about this female game developers and the whole sexism idea? So,
yeah,
over to you.
This is actually, as far as I'm concerned, quite... I'm going to not to express on the language side of things, but I think it's actually very, very bad.
It is very bad.
I think you can kind of put that mark on it when you say very a lot.
And I think what we'll do is we'll put the links to all the articles in the description. We're not going to...
show notes.
Show notes. And we're not going to say, all these swear words because they are quite abusive and they just shouldn't be said on a YouTube video, if I'm honest. So they'll be in a description for you to look at. You'll be quite horrified yourself. And there's a woman called Zoe Quinn, and she submitted a game Depression Quest to the Steam Greenlight so that it could be considered for distribution on Steam. Now she was getting loads of abuse and I'm not even going to go into the language. Like we said, we're not going to go into it. And she's even had several sexually harassing phone calls. She's also had torrents of abuse when she first put up the game, and it is quite nasty because why would you go for that certain individual, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, I think it's crazy because it's kind of going back to the old days, where sexism was a really big issue back in the old days. It just, I don't see why, and forgive me for saying this, I don't know why some sort of minorities, people in the world think that a game from a woman is always going to be something bad. I just think that the whole point of trolling just goes too far when it comes to people wanting to make their footprint in the world of gaming.
Yeah, exactly. And also, when you think about it, if you have a look at games Call of Duty and Battlefield and things like that, because let's just put Call of Duty Ghosts into the perspective here. Now, obviously, Call of Duty Ghosts is made by Infinity Ward. Everyone should know that by now. And basically, whenever there's MLG events, Major League Gaming events, when there's competitions on, then there's this woman representative for Infinity Ward. Now, I think she actually works for them as in developing, programming, map making, whatever.
Yeah.
And no one gives her any sort of crap at all, because it's just, why you're being sexist on this individual. Why don't you be sexist on the woman Infinity Ward? I'm not saying you should go do that, but it's that sort of example. You shouldn't really be sexist.
I think that another good example really is someone such as iJustine or Justine Ezark. If she was to make a game and put it on Steam Greenlight, would people give the same hate to her the same as they gave to Zoe Quinn? I don't think so.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't at all, because I think the difference with that is that iJustine is a popular YouTuber and no one would really hate on her as much. She wouldn't get as much abuse as this Miss Quinn is getting.
Which is the problem,
abuse.
I believe.
Yeah, because I think, it's kind of like in football, racism needs to be kicked out of the game, but it should be sexism that needs to be kicked out of the game as well. It needs to be kicked out completely, because
you don't see
at the end of the day...
You don't see other than men on the pitch very often.
Yeah, exactly, because at the end of the day, it's the case of, we're all the same in a sense. Women might have a few different things about us, but, we're still the same in a certain context,
Yeah, I just think overall that hopefully she gets herself the dream of her life to get a green lighted game. I suppose, even though you're probably not watching this or listening to this on our channel or whatever, our, I suppose, extended apologies for these kind of, disgraceful harassments that they've been giving you, and we do hope that you get your game green lighted in the near future.
Well, it says here that she's taken a game off approval of the of the green light. And so, like, to be honest, I think it should be the sort of thing which I used to do back in my YouTube days, where, like, I'd turn the negative hate into positive hate and maybe implement it into my videos. But in this case, you should just implement it into a game. Like, I don't know, maybe if anyone hates, like, hates on the game or whatever, or if anyone goes on the game, hates on the game or whatever, like, something happens on the game or whatever, you kind of get my gist of things. But yeah, like, it just needs to be kicked out of the community completely, because how would you like it, or how would the people hating on her like it if they were being, like, abused at? Like, she just doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, I think that women get a lot of slack for, like, kind of playing video games, and I think just to kind of end the kind of story there, saying, why does it have to be a female? Why can't it be a male as well? You know what I mean? It seems that females always get a lot of harassment. Like, we get harassment as men. I can understand that, but I think that saying that men can only get it is basically saying that that female people can't actually be human. They can't actually have the same emotions as men. And we don't really want to go into, I suppose, a kind of a battle about the kind of stuff like that and rant about it. So I suppose we're going to kind of shift away from that, and we're going to go on to our next story.
Yes, which is the PlayStation 4 officially selling out in South Africa within 24 hours.
Wow.
Now, that is a pretty good gain for Sony, because I tell you something now, if I was the CEO of Sony, I'd be dancing around, like, pouring champagne over my head a lot. Like, like they said that the PS4, it's the fastest selling console in Sony Entertainment history.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it's good on them, like, and it says here is a Deakin or Kinecor, I don't know how you say his name, but whatever.
Deakin Entertainment.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that's supposed to say Sony Entertainment, yeah.
I believe that, it's, as it says there, it says that they're a South African distributor of the PlayStation.
Oh, okay. But, right, okay, yeah. So, Deakin Entertainment are distributors of the Sony PS4. Okay, I understand now. So, the CEO of the company said it's been an interesting road full of surprises this last year in the lead up to the PS4 announcement, and we are ecstatic that we've broken an SKE record with these sales thanks to our loyal customers and stakeholder support. The demand continues to overwhelm supply, but we're working extremely hard to get PS4 consoles into the hands of customers as quickly as possible. Now, that's something that gamers like to see all the time, it's just absolutely amazing. But, like me, I'm not really a Sony fan, I'm not really a Microsoft fan either. I'm a PC fan in a sense, but to see Sony doing well, because I know they were in quite some financial trouble recently, because they had to, like, drop the developers of I think it's like Little Big Planet or something like along them lines, and they needed to save as much money as they could ASAP.
It kind of goes back to if you've heard the story probably in the past loads of times. Sony made a lot of bad decisions with the PlayStation 3, and those decisions could have been worse, but in the position that they put themselves, they made it so that they made a loss on every single console. Now, a lot of this kind of story has actually kind of been played on as a jokey kind of reaction over the years. People like IGN have, with shows such as Up at Noon, Brian Artano, I can't say his name, they actually did a bit of a spoof about that, like saying, we're losing money but we're still able to put things together. It kind of takes the mick out of PlayStation, that aspect. But going back to the activity going on here with South Africa getting the 24 hours mark of all their consoles sold out. Now, that is something that Sony is looking to put back in their in their good books, something that they can say, yes, we was able to sell out in South Africa. Now, if you said that to Microsoft,
it wouldn't be the same thing, because
they wouldn't be sharing their victory.
Yeah, exactly, because I guess this kind of is a good time for us to move on. Like, it's a good topic to move on to, and the Xbox One is the fastest selling console in the United States of America. Now,
there you go.
That kind of puts the PlayStation 4 selling out in South Africa to shame, because
South Africa
back to back. South Africa compared to the United States, South Africa is just small. So
basically, with the South African, it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight with the Xbox One taking on the United States by storm.
Exactly. So Xbox has seen record-breaking sales with the recent announcement of the Xbox One selling more than 2 million units through to consumers worldwide since its launch. And it turns out that in the November NPD group figures released today, they revealed that 909,132 Xbox One units were sold in the United States. Okay, now Xbox One sales team have averaged that to more than 101,000 consoles per day.
And that's significant to the outpacing nearest competitor, which they won't put on their own website because this is actually on Xbox One, which obviously in quotes would be
Sony.
PS4, yeah.
Yeah. So it turns out that they made $1.21 billion from sales. And during the month of November, the Xbox One and the Xbox 360 held 5 of the top 10 spots on the console game title list. And during the month of November, Xbox One sold nearly 3 times as many units compared to the Xbox 360 in the US during its November 2005 launch.
Wow.
Now, you can obviously like the big improvements that they've made onto the Xbox One because more people are buying them, you know? And
yeah.
It's obviously going down their way.
Yeah, and I think a kind of a strong point to put into the story here is that only a few months ago, and this was literally only a few months ago, Xbox was looking to have a kind of a bad year because of their decisions on, you know, always online policies. You know, you'd have to sign in every day. DRM. Yeah. You know, in the same kind of light that SimCity got, it got a lot of bashing. And if you compare it to SimCity from EA's side, we all know EA, they've got a bad track record and they've also been rated as 2013's worst company again for customer service.
No
surprise. So what you can say is it's a good job that Microsoft has actually done better than they thought companies always believe that they're going to do well. You can't. If you was a company trying to sell a console with negative, you know, input from the last few months, and then you get some really good input and you get loads of people buying it, what's kind of like translating into is basically that SimCity had bad karma from the start and it had bad karma after, whereas the Xbox One had bad karma all the way through its launch period, and then when it came to the actual, you know, the debut period, say, and then it came to the launch period, and it's completely smashed previous records of the Xbox 360 when that launched in 2005. It's, you know what I mean? It's just, the karma is unbelievable on the scale right now.
Yeah, exactly. And just to let you know as well, Xbox also seeing stronger consumer excitement for next-gen Xbox One games, where consumers are purchasing an average of 2.1 games per console, and this was just in the November NPD group data reports on sales data.
Wow.
In
the first 9 days as well.
Yeah, I think that'll do with the Xbox One November announcement. Congratulations to Microsoft on on a very,
keep it up,
big,
yeah,
a very big success. And big round of applause there from Digitus or Josh Deakin. And we are going to move on to our technology end. So goodbye Windows XP, hello Linux. Hello Linux, and it turns out that Microsoft will be stopping the security support for Windows XP this coming April, so it'll be April 2014, meaning that more than a few remaining users of the long-standing OS need to come up with an alternative plan. So possibly go to Linux, I'm presuming, but you should, you know, maybe go for Windows 7, Windows 8, maybe, you know, who knows. But people are saying you might as well switch to Linux because transitions are, you know, never easy, you know, and Linux is, you know, it's just as like it's pretty much nearly the same as Windows XP maybe. Like, you know, there won't be much to, you know, get used to in a sense. It'll kind of be like nearly sort of same interface. It will still be a new interface, but it'll feel a bit familiar to Windows XP, I think. So what do you think about that then, Josh?
Well, straight away, I'm not a user of XP anymore, so, you know,
neither am I.
Pat on the back there for that. I'll say if we were still there, I think we'd probably have some problems making YouTube videos for a start.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, because 64-bit was something that was quite hard to support really with XP, because I think once Vista came along, Windows as a whole became 32 and 64-bit operating systems, and the architecture was a lot different. So now that we're moving into an era of no longer XP and hello Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1 for people who haven't had it yet, I think I know this sounds a bit weird, but it's the right time for them now, even though the right time for them was nearly a year ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess, like, you know, when Windows XP goes, then, you know, I don't know whether people will just still stay on Windows XP, but, you know, just have the risk of, you know, security not being good and things like that. And
there's always going to be one person complaining, saying, "Oh, I love my Windows XP. I don't want to go onto the new version of Windows." Well, there is Mac and Linux for that. Shh! I shouldn't have told you that. That was pun intended.
Yeah, very true indeed. So, if you're still a Windows XP user out there, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to Linux? Are you going to go to Mac? Or are you going to carry on with Windows? Go to Windows 7 or Windows 8? Maybe even Windows 8 8.1. So,
drop us a comment if you're one of those users still. Or if you have an opinion about anything in the show, just drop us down below, or even tweet us at I forget the name already.
You always forget the name. You know what? Even I've forgotten the name as well. I've got to look on my YouTube.
Vidyaology, that's it.
Yeah, Vidyaology. So at Vidyaology.
Yeah,
the
the links to everything will be in the show notes below that like button. So yeah.
But yeah, so I think now's a good time to move on to our second technology discussion, which is the Pirate Bay switching its address for the 6th time this year. Well, to be honest, there's no surprise there, because it's a site where you can download things illegally, and, you know, what can you expect if he has to move addresses? And, like, you know, us UK users, we can't actually access Pirate Bay anymore because it's been blocked on all internet service provider UK ISP things. So we can't go on it anymore. But basically, like, you know, these people from the Pirate Bay are making different domains, so we can go on them in a sense, and you know, download stuff illegally. So I think it's just going to be like it's going to be a long-winded race for the government to try and get hold of these people who are, like, you know, hosting these sites in a sense.
Yeah, I'm just reading this right now. It's actually quite intriguing. One of the pieces it speaks about, it says an injunction in April 2012 forced UK ISPs to block access to the website, and other countries have followed suit. It was barred from operating on the .sx domain hosted in the Caribbean island of Saint Martin, as well as domains from Sweden, Iceland, and the Greenland.
Okay.
It has also now it is now being hosted under the Peruvian domain p.pe.
So yeah. But there's more information on there, you know, in the show notes and everything. But
and it also, just as a kind of a, you know, speaking of what it comes up with next, below it talks about a possibility of a browser being developed for users to still continue to use it, called the Pirate Browser. But we're not going to go into detail. If you'd like to read the article, which is from the Guardian here in the UK.
Yes.
Oh, good sake, the Guardian. Less said about the Guardian, the more, really, because considering their track record recently with Edward Snowden, less said about them the better. Anyway, so we're now going to, if I may, we move on to our final news story, which is obviously on the tech side of the show. Instagram hitches the wagon to private messaging, aka Instagram Direct. What is your thoughts then, James?
Well, I'm thinking this is going to be a bit like Snapchat. You know,
I thought of direct messaging, or DM if you want to call it, on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's like, it's kind of snatching it off them. It's like Facebook and Twitter are both using Vine, and they're using Instagram to kind of fight their battles apart from their main websites.
Yeah, I understand that, but, like, I think what these social media sites are doing now, they're just, like, copying each other, because, like, you have Twitter, you know, you can send pictures over direct messages now. Now Instagram are doing the same. Now, you know, it eventually it's going to come to a point where you're going to have Instagram, Facebook, well, even though Facebook and Instagram are already linked, you're going to have Snapchat, Facebook/Instagram, and Twitter trying to beat the shit out of each other.
They're both. I suppose they're both trying to get a piece of the market share and a piece of everyone's user data. Using people in their services. The thing is, though, and if I read from here, Instagram has dipped its toes into the private photo and video messaging waters. Instagram Direct allows the community's more than 150 million monthly active users to send photos and videos within a group.
Now, with that, I that's all fair and good and everything. They know who to, appeal it to, let's say, and there's going to come to a time where Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, they are going to come together and they're going to end up suing each other. I swear to God, it is going to be something where it's going to be right, screw this, we're suing each other. Because I think these social media sites are just copying each other so much that I'm so surprised that no one has even tried suing each other yet. I think it's going to happen.
If I may, I think that it kind of reflects on the tech battles of the year and the last year that have gone with Apple and Samsung. I think that one thing that probably all companies in the tech industry, or even any industry, or gaming for that fact, as part of this podcast that we're speaking on, I believe that Samsung and Apple are to be learned from their mistakes and the amount of heat that they've had in the courts. I made the joke early this year to a few friends, and I believe I've also said the joke to you as well, that they should have a second home there. Both the companies should. At the court.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because
they're in there.
They're always they're in and out. It's like a fast food restaurant. They keep going through the drive-through every day of the week.
Oh god, that's brilliant. But speaking of Apple and Samsung and all that, I think now we're going to come up to the end of this episode, and I've come up with a little question, two questions, one for the technology end, one for the video game end.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for everyone in the comments down below. For the technology, Apple products or Android products?
Mm-hmm.
And for the technology, PlayStation 4 or Xbox One? Put it down in the comments below. And I think we shall end this episode here for today. I would like to thank you all for watching this podcast, listening to the podcast. Yes, I would like to thank Josh as well for being on the podcast as well.
And I'd like to thank James for being here on the podcast as well.
You're bloody well welcome, mate. So thank you very much for listening, watching, whatever you're doing whilst you're listening or watching this podcast. And
catch us on the other networks that you can find us on for social. You can find us on
Facebook, Twitter, and we're even going to be going on iTunes soon whenever we can sort that out.
And also we'll be also doing Tumblr as well.
Tumblr as well. And we're also eventually going to get our own website running, but that's all in due course. So I'd like to thank you all again for stopping by at Vidyaology. And thank you very much again. I'm just going to carry on saying thank you and goodbye.
Yes, goodbye.